timer on my watch already. Oh, God, yes.
Miracles of science and engineering it took to recover this
Oh,
gold.
yes. Good idea. Thank you, Sandy.
Use it. We have it. We better use it.
I like it. I like it a lot. You're breaking it down. Mark's even getting over there. Welcome to the All Gold Everything podcast, a podcast for people who would get a psychic to read their dog squad's minds. I'm just saying.
I think that's pretty right on.
I mean,
It is I think this is a podcast for people who would get a psychic to read their dog's minds.
I absolutely do.
This might be the most accurate one so far.
It's taken us almost, 20 months or something to get it dialed in, where we have the most accurate intro ever, and it's related to having a fucking dog psychic show up at our house. I
would have a dog psychic come to my house.
We have some announcements to get to, but I feel like we may as well just start with this because this story hit on people.com this week that Paris Hilton hired a celebrity psychic, Chris Lilly, who apparently has their own show on Netflix. Note to self, start watching that show.
Yes.
About being a dog psychic and like his in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Okay. So he came over to.
That's such a brilliant hustle, by the way.
Oh, God.
Because you can't do that in Omaha.
No, you can't. The only thing, I just am a little jealous that I didn't think of it. Stuff like that. I'm like, when I see people living their best damn lives like that in a way that's like, well, who would know? I think like, God, I wish I would have thought of that.
Yeah.
So anyway, in the article, they mentioned that Paris Hilton has 5 dogs. Did you know this?
I mean, I didn't. If you would have asked me, like, Sandy, do you know how many dogs Paris Hilton has? I would have said like a bushel.
Yeah, she's got like a squad of dogs, right?
Yeah.
And then this psychic came to read the dogs' minds. I mean, all of her dogs are little, so I imagine that they're all like, I would imagine that they were, in some ways I think of little dogs kind of like cats, as they like probably are plotting and dominating to take over the world. And I think of big dogs as being just like dumb, like I think of a pet psychic came to my house. What do you think that your dog is thinking? Like, what do you think a pet psychic would tell you about your dog, about Weebay?
My dog's a little muted.
He is.
A little muted, but I would think that like his whole brain is like in the shape of a heart. And I just think it would be like just emanating all this love.
Yeah.
And, but I wish they'd play with me more. I think that would be his, like, if the psychic was like, but Weebay, what message is the most important message that you want me to send to them? It'd be like, that they could play with me more.
We have 2 dogs. So Henry,
I might be a pet psychic.
You might be a pet psychic. Oh my God, let's move to Hollywood.
Yes.
Let's put the show, we'll take the show on the road. I was about to say we'll put the show on pause, but we don't even have to. We'll take the show on the road. We'll move to Hollywood, set up as, I think I might be a dog psychic too, because we have 2 dogs. Henry is a Great Dane Hound mix. He's like 80 pounds. He's almost 4 years old. He's 3.5 years old. He just celebrated his 3-year adoptiversary with us in the beginning of July. And I feel like ever since he got a little sister dog, he would be like, can I please have some personal space? Like, that's really...
Henry, I relate.
I am starting to think of Henry as like a professor who wears a jacket with patches on the elbows, who's like, sometimes because he'll sit on our couch and just cross his legs like this. He's like very refined. And I think he's like very much over having a dog nipping at his heels all the time. So he would be asking for some personal space. And Lemon is our 8-month-old yellow lab, who I cannot believe is like 8 months old already. That's crazy. And I feel like she would be kind of more along the Weebay line of just like a little love ray, like, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Like a lot like Buddy the elf.
Yeah.
But in a
I
dog.
can see that. Yeah.
Because she's always jumping. Actually, Jeff took her for a run the other day, and they ran like a quarter of a mile or something, not far. Because she's only 8 months. She can't run that far yet, but she's getting close. And he was like, it was like she had pogo sticks on the end of all of her legs. Like she was just like, boing, boing, boing.
That's so
boing.
cool.
So
jealous.
I'm happy that if we had pet psychics come to read our dog squad, we know that our dogs are happy.
Yes.
One of mine is a little annoyed.
I mean, I think so. Tessa, I am a dog psychic because when I had Tessa, she had multiple names for her multiple moods. And one was Tessa Depressa.
Oh, cute.
Because she would get, dogs get depressed. You've heard of dogs on Prozac. I think there's more cats on Prozac.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. There was Tessa Obsessa.
Oh, yeah. Obsessed. Oh, my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. When she would like chase things around.
Yes.
And those are only 2 I can remember right now.
Those are really good ones.
But we like nailed her moods pretty pretty well, and they all seem to rhyme with
Sandy,
her name.
You are a dog psychic.
I think I am.
You're welcome that this story just uncovered this special gift for you. And
So if I ever do become unemployed, like I've got options.
Yeah, and I'm here to be your business coach.
Yeah,
so
coach me into dog psychic. But I'd have to be a pet psychic stardom. Like you can't just be like, the neighborhood pet psychic.
I don't know. You might be able to make good bank being the neighborhood pet psychic.
No, I think it has to be stardom.
But you probably would want to get that hustle going on next door. I would say that'd be a good place to start.
I think they'd kick me off.
They might.
I got into it on Nextdoor app.
I know. Since we used to do a Nextdoor segment, but did you get into it even more since we stopped doing that?
Fight. I got in a Nextdoor fight.
Nextdoor fight.
But
do you
I
tell us about it?
I can't remember it. Maybe next podcast I could bring up the post.
Yeah.
Well, what really happened was I schooled them all, and they all shut up after like 3 of my responses, and I'm like, "Will you just finally shut up and end this post?"
I actually feel like, in light of the Enneagram 8 conversation we had last week, Nextdoor might be the perfect place to just be your 8,
my full self.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are all wrong,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah.
Now quit being assholes.
Yeah, like anytime you're feeling like less actualized and you
Yeah.
want to just lean into that version of the 8,
I
like
remember
Nextdoor's a
what
great
it
platform
was.
for that. Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. I feel like I taught some people some things.
Yeah.
I think that there's some things that some people on Nextdoor need to learn.
I'm sure there are.
But anyway,
1000%.
I'll just tell you the premise, and I won't get into the details. The premise was I live in Eastmoreland, and it is one of the more upper class, middle, but it's really middle class.
It looks rich as fuck every time I drive through
what
it.
it is it's always been a middle class neighborhood, but now that property values are so high, it is unfortunately upper class. So you bring the upper class attitude into with it.
I will just say though, I drive through that neighborhood on purpose at Christmas time because I like to see the lights because everyone's got great decor. And 2 weeks ago, last week for 4th of July, it was so fun. It was like such a small town. Everyone had their little flags out and not in a racist way.
You went to their parade?
No, but I mean, I drove through the day before. Dixie oh, oops. Maybe in a racist way then. And that was an accident. That was
FYI.
Oops.
Yeah. But I didn't get into that. I didn't touch that one.
No, that one you just
on Nextdoor. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to set that one aside.
We're not even there yet.
No. But so it's a cute neighborhood. So what's happening though in Eastmoreland is there's this movement to save Eastmoreland because all these like old Portland houses are being knocked down and Renaissance homes are going up, maximize the space.
The big blocks.
Joey and I call them abominations.
Yeah.
But that's not what this post was about. The post was about somebody who's doing new construction, laid their sidewalk down, and Jacob and Ashton carved their names in it.
Aww, and it's kind of cute. It's a little suburban.
The homeowner didn't think so, and the homeowner decided it was vandalism and wants to know who these kids are and was using the
They're probably
Nextdoor.
like 7.
So I started referring to little Jackson, little Ash, and
yes,
yeah,
Sandy, you are a crusader for the children in all forms.
Right. So somebody finally came out and called me a name, and it was like I was almost like trying to.
What kind of name?
No, what was it? No, they insulted my mom. That's what it was.
No.
Yeah, because it became a parenting conversation, and so they decided to tell me about how I was raised.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, yeah. So a grown person insulting my mother on the internet is more acceptable than little Jackson, little Ash carving their name into a sidewalk.
I mean, they probably had so much fun doing
I know,
it too. They had
like
a lifetime of memory for that.
Yeah, but that's when it was all shut down. Anyway, it was a good time. Good time on Nextdoor.
Had
and this was me.
I had an incident. Oh my God, I love that.
You're talking about my mama? No, I'm just kidding.
Nobody talks about Sandy's mom except Sandy.
Yes,
that's right. I love that I also had a little run in on Nextdoor, but I had a run in with the Nextdoor administrators because I have to give a shout out on the show because one of our friends listens to the show and I'm helping her run her business. So Kim listens to the show. Hey girl, and she just had a wildly successful debut at the Montevilla Farmers Market with her kimchi, and she sold out in like 2 hours, and like it was really exciting. But I was trying.
I think she needs to make a little more kimchi.
I know we're going to make more next week. That's the point. Next week we're doing more. We're doubling up. So I've been helping her like kind of build this brand and build this business, and like we've been posting some ads for it in like free spaces on Facebook in groups that we're members of or whatever, just to see, can we get anything going? And so I thought, well, like we should, and actually wasn't my idea. Somebody suggested to us that we should post on Nextdoor because it's like we were willing to do a delivery to someone's house and it's in our neighborhood. And so whatever. So I put this post on Nextdoor and like I got yelled at and I put it in a couple of categories, and the administrators of all the categories got in touch with me to let me know that I was not welcome to be selling my business on Nextdoor. But it wasn't until after we'd already sold $50 worth of kimchi on the platform. So,
from a standpoint of principle, that makes no sense.
No
to me.
sense. Why can I get on Nextdoor and sell like a flea-ridden couch, but I can't get on Nextdoor to sell like a locally crafted, delicious like produce product? You know what I mean? So I was mad about it, but I did not like go up, and I was willing to just go like, well, we made some money from it and we'll walk away. But anyway, I really got us way far away from where I wanted. That was an awesome way to start the show.
Was that from the dog psychic?
That was all the way from the dog psychic. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
We have a couple of announcements at the top of the show, though, and I just wanted to remind all of our listeners that they can find us in a couple of places, and one of the most important things that they can do for us is they can listen to us on iTunes, and they can do what? Put Sandy on the spot.
Watch us on YouTube?
Yeah, but they can...
Patreon.
Yeah. Those are all the places, and in all the places you should subscribe.
Oh, subscribe, rate, and review.
Subscribe, rate, and review. That's right.
Of course. Hi, friends. We would really love subscriptions, ratings,
it helps
and
us
reviews
a lot if you can subscribe, rate, and review.
And it actually means more than joining Patreon. I mean, Patreon's a great way to support us. Also, if you want to, but primarily it's those subscriptions and reviews that we need. Yeah, and the other thing is that we are still streaming live on Twitch. So we're streaming live today. I put a little video. Hey, Twitch users. Hi, Twitch.
I tried to recategorize us. We were somehow on the Twitch platform categorized as outdoor, something like outdoor and camping. And so
that's funny.
I know,
that's funny.
The irony is like, I can't even. So on my way over here today, I tried to recategorize us into podcasts and pop culture. So we might be streaming to the right crowd on Twitch, but I really don't know, frankly. Well, also, I
always like to fantasize that we're streaming to the gamers and that they're putting down their little joystick.
Their games. Their controllers.
What do we call the joysticks today?
Controllers, yeah.
Well, that's boring.
It is. Sorry.
Joystick is almost kind of like dirty.
Yeah, because it's kind of sexy.
Yeah, but now it's replaced with controller.
Yeah. So, but I will say, Twitch is a pretty weird platform. So if anyone on Twitch is listening to us, if you could reach out to us and let us know how to use Twitch, like that would be ideal, because even on the like settings and stuff, it's fucking weird. So I need help. I'm putting out a call for help. If you know how to fucking use Twitch, please let me know. The other thing that I want to let you know that's going on today, I don't know if our listeners will be able to take advantage of this, but today is 7-Eleven, and do you know what that means?
Well, yeah, because I was just there.
Yeah. Free Slurpee Day. I went into 7-Eleven because I had a minute before the show started, and I had a backlog of lottery tickets that I had to check. And
did you go to Hamid?
I did.
Oh.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But Hamid's ticket was not a winning ticket.
Oh.
But the ticket after Hamid's was, I won the lottery.
And you didn't bring him a bag of money?
No.
No.
I don't know if it was Hamid behind the counter, although his ticket did have his name on it.
Oh, that's so cute. I bet he loved that. He loves me.
I didn't win the jackpot, though.
But you won.
But I won $21.
Which means we're getting close.
Yep. I won $21 on one ticket, and I won $4 on another ticket, bringing our grand total up to $25.
You are rich.
Get ready for that glow up. Get ready for the all gold pod glow up. It is coming. Oh, thank you. Mark just delivered us some snacks.
Yes.
But it was a very strange experience at 7. Well, it was kind of a par for the course experience. I pulled up to 7-Eleven. It's 10:30 in the morning. The parking lot is jammed. And then this gal.
It's so weird.
So weird. And then this gal walks out tweaking out of her mind. And she's like, "You look beautiful."
Oh, that's nice, though.
That was nice.
Even though.
Yeah, I took it. I said, "Thank you so much."
Yeah.
And then I walked in and I saw all the free Slurpee cups because they have them like prepped and ready to go. And I was like, oh, this place must be mental because it's free Slurpee day. But then I looked and the line was like so long and nobody was getting Slurpees. It was just like 10:30 in the morning is just when everyone has rolled out of bed and has to go to 7-Eleven to get their morning snack before they head to their job or something.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like their morning tall boy.
Yeah, maybe their morning tall boy. I didn't look very carefully. All I did was I looked closely enough to know that they were not carrying free Slurpees, but they were just like.
But all those free Slurpee cups were up ready on the counter to grab one. I was tempted, but I'm like, no, I can't drink a Slurpee. I'll get brain freeze.
I thought about getting you one, but I wasn't sure if it would melt before we got here. And then the last thing is I picked up some snacks from Cafe Au Play. Is that what that place is called? There's a coffee shop next to us. Cafe Play. Maybe it's just Cafe Play. Yeah, Play Cafe. That's what it is. And they made Fruity Pebbles Rice Krispie treats this morning.
That's
so
brilliant.
That's what that beautiful rainbow one is.
How have I never thought of that?
I don't know. The gal was like, I was like, oh, I'll have that. What is that? A Rice Krispie? And she's like, no, it's a Fruity Pebbles Rice Krispie, and the moms here love them. And I'm like, all right, we'll try one of those. It's got sprinkles on it too.
Oh, cool.
So anyway, all right, we have so many. We do have a couple of really funny stories.
Just to say, if I were somebody who made edibles, I feel like I would definitely do the Fruity Pebble Rice Krispie
Absolutely.
treat.
Is the pot shop next door on top of this? Do they sell Fruity Pebbles? Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We're matchmakers like that. Connecting people, building relationships. It's all about the pod. Maybe we get both to sponsor us. If we do that, then they could, I don't know, compensate us in some way. Except not with pot, because we don't do pot.
But there's
God,
pot money.
sound?
Pot money's good money.
Pot money is good money. There's a shitload of pot money in this town.
Shitload of
People are
weed
buying
money.
houses left and right with pot money.
Yeah, Renaissance fucking homes.
Yeah, the big abominations.
Get your abomination.
All right. Okay, so we already talked about Paris Hilton's pet psychic, Chris Lilly. The next story that I got to talk about, this is, okay, we're going to talk in our Ruthless Review this week. You are not going to want to miss it. I just want to tell you what we're going to ruthlessly review.
Yeah, I mean, this is worth your $5.
I mean, okay, this show
I guess, or you could just listen to the podcast for free.
I know, but you want to know what we have to think about it.
Right, yeah.
So the Ruthless Review we're doing this week is of a podcast called To Live and Die in L.A.
To Live, it has not about Tupac, though.
I mean, first of all, what a sexy title.
Yeah.
I'm dead. Bet it's a little bit about Hooker Light, which we've talked about here. So if you
Yes.
have not heard the show, actually, Sandy, can you tell our listeners who are not familiar with Hooker Light what Hooker Light is, where it came from, how we...
Okay, so the term Hooker Light dates back to Heather McDonald.
Oh my God, you sound like an encyclopedia entry. I love it.
So I'm a listener of the Heather McDonald podcast, and she
Juicy
coined the Juicy Scoop. Yeah, thank you for that, Juicy Scoop. And she coined the term Hooker Light about these women, like, you know, they're not always just in LA, but like women who are dating rich men, having them buy bags, cruises, trips, maybe the going out on a yacht with a Saudi prince.
I mean, it's kind of like the
And
sugar baby, sugar
they're
daddy thing.
dating, definitely having sex, but they're not taking cash payment like a hooker would. They're
Right.
taking bags and trips as payment. So that's Heather McDonald's definition of Hooker Light.
mean,
Here
thank
at
you, Heather McDonald.
Yeah, but I have to expand because
Yeah.
here at All Gold Pod, thanks to Heidi, we've sort of expanded Hooker Light and to include Instagram models.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
true. We do.
really know
Yeah.
how that happened, but I like it.
Yeah.
I'm on board with it.
It's an inclusive term, which
Yeah.
I like. And
Yeah.
I absolutely 1000% agree that it includes these influencers.
yeah.
All these influencers that are...
I mean, I don't know that I actually think it does, but I love that we've included them.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to be on that train of
Yes,
including the Instagram models.
1000%. I have to give mad props to Heather McDonald for even creating the term Hooker Light and then just letting us run with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure she listens to the show and she's never called us to say we can't include Instagram influencers as Hooker Light.
I can't imagine she would say that.
No, I can't either.
I feel like I know her, and I think she would be nodding right now.
She would be. And here's why we expanded it to include these Instagram influencers, because oftentimes these are in exchange for sleeping with someone. The influencer gets to go on a trip or a yacht or a thing or whatever.
Or get their rent paid.
Or get their rent paid. And then they have like these beautiful photos and whatever. And sometimes like these ladies end up dead.
It's true.
Because they like fall off the side of a boat or they get pushed off the side of a boat or something.
Well, and like the Grand Canyon's an
Untoward.
especially dangerous place for Instagram models.
Has there been a recent rash of deaths there, or tell me more?
Well, I just know people fall and die all the time, and it's usually taking the Instagram photos.
Yeah. I will tell you what, I used to be married to an Irish guy, right? And so I spent some time in Ireland when we were married, a year, and at least a year,
Cliffs.
maybe
It's
more.
cliffy there.
The Cliffs of Moher is a place that you go to. It's like this, it's like a very Game of Thrones set. Almost, it's like these huge steep cliffs off of the Atlantic Ocean. And like there is signage everywhere that says stay back from the edge, da da da. And I was like, I took it, and it was way before Instagram, because this would have been 2004, 2005 that we would have been on this vacation or whatever to the Cliffs of Moher or whatever. And there's all this signage everywhere, like don't go close to the edge. And yet we still like walked all the way up to the edge. But I was so afraid to even stand on the edge that I actually like army crawled. I like got on my belly and was like, I'm just going to lay on the edge of the cliff and like stick my head over.
Even
you know
that
what I mean?
is making my stomach get that pit in it. I just do. So we were at the Grand Canyon when we went to get Weebay, and we stopped and I realized that the Grand Canyon doesn't actually have like fences or gates. Like you could just
walk right up to the edge.
Yeah, and I know that when I'm by myself, I'm less risk averse. But it was like Joey and Skylar there, and I was so risk averse, and I was like, I get it, because Joey's like a fucking mountain goat. He's a billy goat. It's like, I get it. You're sure-footed. You know your balance. You trust your body. Like I get it, but you can't control the wind.
No, I know. And that is the thing, because even when we laid over the cliff with our heads, like the wind was so strong, and people were like, you shouldn't be doing that because it can like swoop you up, basically. That is the thing, that not only could it push you over, but you could get kind of like caught, like almost like a wave.
Yeah.
Which that might be a little bit of folklore, but I still wasn't
dramatic. But
it was dramatic. I'm really glad that Instagram didn't exist at that stage for me, because I don't know if it did exist at all, but 2005.
I have that pit in my stomach down to my vagina that I get when I get afraid of heights. Like I'm feeling it right now.
I'm just glad that
about
it didn't exist, because it was like, okay, because we like laid our heads over and then like we crawled right back, you know? But I mean, if it had been in the Instagram era, I can't say I wouldn't have done something dumb and Hooker Light-esque, frankly.
Yeah. So where were we going with Hooker Light?
Oh, here's where we're going. We're going to talk about it more. We're going to talk Hooker Light more in our Ruthless Review today. Okay. But also, in some other Hooker Light news, Instagram models all over the world, Hooker Lighters included, I'm sure.
So if you're an Instagram model, you're not automatically a Hooker Light. But if you're a Hooker Light, you might be an Instagram model.
Yeah, actually, I think we can. Yeah, we can be even more sure than that. If you are an Instagram model, you are not necessarily Hooker Light, but if you are Hooker Light, you are definitely an Instagram model.
Okay.
Yeah. What is that logic thing? I don't know what that's called.
There's a word for that.
Yeah, there is a word for that.
The Fred.
Fred will check it out for us. Thank you, Fred. Okay, so Instagram models everywhere are flocking to a turquoise lake in Russia. I have a couple pictures. I hope if you're watching on YouTube, you want to see these pictures. One of them is a guy or a gal doing yoga in front of it, and the other one is, I don't know, it's like just a dude. Oh, there's a couple that got married. They got married and then had their wedding photos in front of this lake. That's like this turquoise lake that is, there they are. So the color of this lake is like insane, right? It's like this deep blue or whatever. And
That's
it's
a pretty photo.
It's pretty, right? And it's in Siberia.
Oh, I know somebody from Siberia.
It's Siberia. And apparently the Russian government has come out to say it is a toxic dump. So no one should be getting near this, much less getting their wedding pictures taken in it. I just want to say, you and I reviewed the miniseries Chernobyl.
Right.
You and I know how much the Russian government doesn't like telling people how toxic stuff is. So I'm just thinking, if they're willing to come out and say, like, this is a fucking toxic lake, don't come out here, like, that ship must be nearly acid is all I can think.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. Oh, can you put the second picture up, Mark? Oh, here's a gal doing yoga at the edge of it. She absolutely is Hooker Light. Look at her flexibility, A, and B. I mean, she's in this like completely dangerous place because she probably like got her rent paid and now she just does whatever she wants. You know, whatever. Oh my God, I'm going on a rant, but I can't even with this. It's crazy.
It is. And in that photo, like the scenery is not even that pretty. You could get a nice shot of pretty clouds anywhere. You don't have to stand in a toxic lake.
I know.
The toxic lake itself, it does not add to the photo.
No, it doesn't. I mean, there's like a little sliver of turquoise blue in the end. I just feel like, lady, this is not worth it.
No.
Just, you need to reconsider is all I'm saying. Oh, Mark says no one's looking at the lake in that picture.
No, it's true.
Which is another good point.
Which is why I was going to say this is why I love yoga. Because look at that ass.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm sure between all the yoga she gets to do because she's a Hooker Light and all the places she gets to go, I just think if no one's looking at the lake anyway, take this picture somewhere that's not toxic, like somewhere else in Siberia. Also, this is shattering some of my beliefs around Siberia because she's wearing a tank top and shorts, and I think I always thought of Siberia as permanently.
Yeah, we'll bring my friend Pavel on the podcast to tell us about.
Nice.
Yeah, he's from Siberia, and he actually has a YouTube channel, Aurora 7 Imagery. And what he likes to do is he's liked to do this way before like social media, YouTube, and all this. He likes to photograph abandoned places, and he has photographs, but he also does like drone images of abandoned places, and he travels to do drone images of abandoned places. And he actually makes these really beautiful videos on his YouTube channel, Aurora 7 Imagery. story. And so
Yeah,
our
hit that
listeners,
up.
if they're interested in that, they can check it out. I know that he has been on trips back to Russia for photo taking. I just don't know if he's done any drones from there. I think he may have. But there's also great videos of Chernobyl, abandoned
Yeah.
Chernobyl. And I know that he's gone and taken photos there. I'm just not sure if he's done the drone images there.
Oh, doing the drone there would be really
Yeah,
cool.
but he also, so
Haunting.
the very first myth he banished for me about
Yes.
Siberia.
Tell me.
Just hold on to your seat.
I'm holding on.
Siberian tigers are not from Siberia.
What? Mark's out. Mark's had it. He's done. He's throwing his headset to the ground.
I
He
even
doesn't
went
have
so
a headset
far
on.
as to purchase him a stuffed Siberian tiger
Are those the
for
white
his
ones?
birthday.
The white ones with the black stripes?
Yes.
Why would they call them Siberian tigers? Oh, because they're like snowy?
I think so.
Where are they from?
I think, oh, Pavel, I hope you're not listening to this. He knows. I don't. I wouldn't hear it. Basically,
Yeah.
he told me this and I wouldn't hear it. So I can't tell you where they're actually from. But I was like, so you're telling me that you lived in Siberia and you've never seen a Siberian tiger? And he's like, yes. I'm like, fuck you. Just fuck you. Just fuck you.
Wow, that's crazy.
Nuts.
I can't. I don't think I can have that either. All right. On the next story that we have that we're talking about is like just one of these. Like, of course, this happened in West Virginia. That's where I'm going to start. Of course, this happened in West Virginia. A woman admitted to stabbing her husband to death with a 14-inch dagger during foreplay last week. I got the story off BuzzFeed, so here's the little snippet of it. And she said he wasn't supposed to get hurt, but it did happen.
14 inches is greater than a foot.
That's bigger than a foot. So
Is
like,
that a dagger at this point? I mean,
I don't know what I actually appreciate that they called it a dagger instead of like a knife. I would have thought like a kitchen knife or something.
I mean, I think that's a chef's knife.
That's a chef's knife. So
Yeah.
apparently the investigators were saying that as strange as this is, they watched these kung fu movies and it led to foreplay, which was both of them getting pretty violent with each other while playing with weapons. And she stabbed him in the back and she was only supposed to be like poking him in the back a little bit. And then she like let him have it and it went all the way through his back and into his heart and then he died. So we're not a true crime podcast or anything, but I'm just saying.
I would love the details of this one. I want to get to the bottom of, was this really an accident or not?
One of the things, I want to see if I can pull the article up because it was really interesting. She was like,
I just noticed we're both wearing ruffly shirts.
we are. It's cute.
That's pretty cute.
One of the things I love is we're kind of in each other's brains about this podcast because we often show up with like really cute complimentary outfits without even like telling each other what it is that we're wearing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's important for us to talk about on the podcast.
It is. It's like we kind of have
important
like
for our listeners to know.
a mind meld going on. It's good because it bought me enough time to pull up this article so that
Oh,
this woman,
good.
Yeah. So she basically said she was sentenced to 15 years in prison, but under West Virginia law, she'll be granted an opportunity for the court to reconsider her sentence later in August. She said, "My husband and I like to fight and have sex and then make up, if that's the right way to say it. He wasn't supposed to get hurt, but it did happen." And then she said, she continued to say that she called the police on the night of his death to say that she had stabbed her husband while, quote, horseplaying, and that she'd continued to say that he had backed into a letter opener, which is not the same thing as a dagger.
or a 14-inch chef's knife.
Yeah, no. And then...
I mean, because like 14 inches is like this long.
Yeah, that's really big. And you don't just back up into that and then like keep backing up.
backing up.
You go, ow! And then you walk forward. You know? She also told several versions of the story. She told different people different versions of the story, saying that she had slipped in the water, that he had slipped in some water and fallen on a screwdriver. And here's the kicker that they did have a history of domestic violence, and she had once used a vehicle to try to run her husband over. So I don't know. It's not looking great for her.
No, I mean, she killed her husband.
She killed her husband
with a very large knife.
with a 14-inch dagger.
And she's in jail for 15 years.
And that's how it goes. So, of course, like only in West Virginia, unfortunately, actually not only in West Virginia, probably all over the place.
No, but it's interesting what you say about West Virginia. I have an ex-boyfriend from West Virginia.
You do? Oh, I'm trying to think of, do I know who that is?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You do.
I can't remember even in this moment, but it's okay. You don't have to tell me. We can talk
don't
about it
say
later.
names.
I won't. I went to West Virginia. I used to have when I was in school, I let me try this again. When I was at the University of Pittsburgh, I was attempting to cobble together a degree, like any degree. And one of the things I chased down was a health information management degree, which was basically like how you learn to file healthcare documents.
That is so funny that you ever did that. That would be the worst job.
Basically, so I had this internship. It was like a 12-week internship that I had to do, or like practicum that I had to do, where I had to go to a hospital and like put files together. Because it was like 2001, right? So like not everything. It wasn't
paper charts.
It was paper charts, and people, and it, like I had to get the stuff from transcription and like punch the holes in it and like put it together in the file and like put the right flags on it and like whatever. You know what I mean? So I was always hungover for this job. I was never there. I had 9 sessions that I had to show up for, and I made it to 3. And the woman,
look, I'm yawning as you're telling
it's so
this.
boring. It's such a boring thing.
No, it's just because I'm feeling the pain of being in your shoes. That's empathy.
That's empathy. There you go. Good job. So the hospital that I was doing this practicum at was in West Virginia. So I had to drive from Pittsburgh to West Virginia every time I had to go do this. And so it was like an hour-long drive. I was always hungover. I never made it. I went 3 times. The woman who did my practicum looked at me one morning and was like, you're really nice and I really like you, but this is absolutely not the right job for you. You should not do this.
She nailed it.
I'm forever grateful.
Yeah.
Little did she see in my future that I would be a podcast host extraordinaire.
Yes. /TV personality.
/life coach.
Business
/author.
coach.
That's true. I do have to say, I'm going to put one little last thing in for Heidi B Coaching. I have all my coaching packages dialed in at the moment. So if you are looking for some coaching or some help on pursuing a passion project or doing some relationship work, those are available on my website, www.heidibcoaching.com. Okay, boom. I have one last thing that we could talk about abundance, or we can skip abundance and head into astrology. What are your thoughts?
Is there a difference?
They might be deeply entwined.
Yeah, no. I think you should say what you need to, what you would like to say about abundance.
To talk about this abundance thing. I went to this abundance workshop a couple weeks ago, and it was really interesting because it was a 3-hour adventure. So this is obviously not all. It's just a little nugget that I pulled out from it that I really liked, and it was a little woo woo, right? Because it's about like manifesting abundance.
Woo woo.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm here for woo woo.
I'm here for it too. So it was about manifesting abundance, but it wasn't about like, positive vibes only or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the gal that was leading the course was talking about that. Was talking about manifesting abundance and like that there are 3 blocks to abundance for us sometimes, and that not sometimes. Usually, if we are feeling unabundant, it's because of one of these 3 blocks. So one of them is that you can't see it, which is like, so you're so focused on your financial abundance that you can't see like the love abundance that you have in your life, or like some other kind, like the passion abundance.
Pull your head out of your ass.
Thank you. Yes, that's the direct way to say it. The second way is that we're not disciplined when we're striving toward abundance sometimes. So sometimes we want the abundance without putting any work into like what has to happen to get it.
I think that should be number 1.
Yeah.
I'm really I'm manifesting a lot.
Yeah, that it's not
and
quite.
now I'm going to go smoke a bowl.
Yeah, it's not quite enough to. Mark's raising his hands, giving the prayer, and he's like, yes.
And I'll go manifest while I watch.
while I watch Twitch.
Right.
While I play Twitch or
Yeah.
something. I play Twitch. I don't know. So there's a lot of this manifesting of abundance where you talk about it, but you don't have the discipline to like create the content or like take the action or whatever it is to like gain some momentum on the abundance merry-go-round.
Yeah, like a misunderstanding that manifesting is waiting for it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that's a general misconception about manifesting.
Yes, that you just sit like in your cross-legged pose and you go, I'm manifesting abundance now. Like,
yeah, so I'm just going to wait for it to happen.
Yeah.
Why isn't it happening?
Just call us Mythbusters.
Yeah.
All Gold Pod Mythbusters edition. I love it. And then the third one.
Get your head out of your ass.
The third block to abundance is that this one is true for me, that we're not patient.
Oh, yeah. That's not true for me. I'm patient.
Because I want to have my abundance yesterday. 5 years. Like I want it.
But isn't just saying I want to have my abundance, you're already violating number 1? Aren't you like in violation of rule number 1
it's
just
true.
by saying that?
Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I was just trying to make a point, but you make an excellent additional point, which is, so impatience is a tough one for me. Patience has always been, and I can always remember even when I was a kid, people talking to me about being patient, and it made me like fucking insane to hear someone say like, you need to work on patience.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's impatient.
So I'm impatient.
I don't know. I'm really good with patience. And I actually do think I'm really good with number one.
Yeah.
Like I wake up in the morning, like so grateful for the abundance that I have. And it might actually make me a little complacent.
Yeah.
You know, to that point.
I understand
you know
that.
what I mean? But I do think that even like the patience one, like I want the abundance now, like it's also in violation like of number two. It's almost like I want my abundance now. I've been working, so now I'm going to wait for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny. It's interesting points, but I mean, I think it all boils down to, you know, manifesting is purely visualizing.
Yeah.
And I think that I think we start this process as children.
Yeah.
And it's tied to who we think we are and what we think we deserve, our worthiness. Mm-hmm. And if as children and young adolescents, we see a version of ourselves and we actually like try to pursue that version of ourselves, my experience has been like, we will achieve that version of ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think that in a nutshell is what manifestation is. And abundance is really just where you are.
Yeah.
You know, abundance is how you measure abundance is an excellent indicator of maturity too.
I agree 1000%. One of the things that was interesting is that we talked about like how abundance would feel, or like how having the things we desired would feel, or like what the feelings connected to those would be, right? And for me, I was like, oh, I'd feel joyful, I'd feel energized, I'd feel inspired. And then she asked us to think about to start operationalizing those words in like current day. Like I feel energized when I deliver a speech and I step on and off the stage or whatever. I feel inspired when I help people run their businesses. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I already feel this way. It's, you know, like it's already like, it was really a good way for me to see it.
Yeah.
That like, there's a part of me before that workshop, I couldn't see the abundance in my life. And then after it, I was like, oh my God, I'm already doing these things. And I already am achieving this feeling of inspiration. The podcast makes me feel this way, where it's like, I feel energized before and after we do the podcast. I feel inspired the night before when I'm like pulling together some topics, you know, I feel inspired when I'm like posting the pictures about it. So I'm like, oh, I'm already here. I've arrived. Abundance, check. What's next?
Well, and I think for me too, it's like where the maturity piece comes in is like, I also recognize that I'm not going to feel energized and inspired all the time.
I would love to feel that way all the time, though.
Yeah, it would be nice, but I'm not going to. And if and I am existing in abundance if I have the opportunity to.
Yeah.
When I do, you know, it's like there's all these different. I feel incredibly abundant right now because in all aspects of my life, I have moments of feeling inspired and energized.
Yeah.
Of course, not all the time. I have to go to work every day. So are 40 hours a week going to be packed with inspiration and and being energized? No. But I get to go to a job where right now I'm really lucky to say I feel that sometimes.
It's exciting.
Right. Yeah. And same thing in my relationship. I'm officially domesticated. I could actually moo. So I'm not going to be like energized, you know, and inspired by love and, you know, dripping in the sweat of hot sex all the time.
One of the things I love about your relationship and how like authentic it is, and like just I was thinking about and hearing you say that you're domesticated, I feel like one of the ways I know that is because you have this little nest den area in your basement. And often I'll text Sandy at night, like, oh, I have a thing or whatever. And I love that you leave, your phone stays upstairs. And so you're present in your den with your man and you guys are like doing whatever, whether it's like hot stuff or TV stuff or whatever, right?
All the things.
All the things. And I just love that because it's like, oh yeah, of course, like that. I just feel like that is really a beautiful indicator of like the abundance of your relationship and like how authentic it is for you that you're just like all in, you know what I mean? Because like Jeff and I have a little den in our living room, but it's like, everything has access, you know, it's like not hidden away. I'm like, oh, I want a little hideaway den like that.
Well, you have a basement.
I have a basement. I'm about to turn it into a rental though. That's a whole nother story.
It can be whatever you want it to be.
Whatever. Well, I love it. It could be.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't want an abundant bungalow that badly then. I don't know. Maybe I'd rather have the money from a rental. I'm greedy. It's true. Anyway, I do want to say that the woman who led the workshop is an incredible woman. Her name is Rosie Acosta. She is on Instagram at Rosie Acosta. I found it to be incredibly powerful. I'm actually going to do a little one-on-one work with her, so I'm stoked on that.
Oh, cool.
And I just thought it was really cool. So it was interesting to see that I did not think that I had this abundance, and then all of a sudden I realized like I was already in all these feelings of abundance anyway. Okay, last week we talked about Enneagram, which was so dope.
It was, and it's really caught on.
Yeah. People are crazy for it. It's good.
I'm having people texting me asking me to send them links to things.
Hell yeah. Oh,
Yes.
I like that. That's good. This week we're going to stick in the same vein, although less scientific.
It doesn't matter.
You know what?
I don't know that Enneagram is that scientific.
Well, here's the thing I was thinking about, because I was like, is that true? I was thinking that I wanted to make that distinction. And then I was like, is that true? And then I was like, well, the Enneagram guy, Dr. Dan, blah, 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 he is a neuropsychiatrist. So he does lend like this kind of academic legitimacy to the concept of Enneagram.
Right. But that's his neuropathway work.
Right. And it's not quite
Enneagram.
Yeah, exactly.
Using
and then
the existing structure of it.
And then astrology, I'm sure there are plenty of like really well-educated people that are into that do astrology or that can vouch for astrology. So maybe it's not its less scientific sister. I have no idea.
I don't think it is, because I think just like you can have, so you have astrology, which is not a science. However, it is a profession.
Yeah, that's true.
And it is like well studied, and it's related to it's related to astronomy. Let's draw a distinction there, which is a science, but they are related. But you can have, like a random psychic talking about astrology, but you could also have a psychiatrist who studies neuropathways talking about talking about astrology. So I think it is actually similar to Enneagram. I don't know why the Enneagram is just way more practical for me right now.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I like about this is that last week when we were talking about Enneagram, you were mentioning that having an idea of this kind of natural personality type that develops as a consequence of the first trauma of coming out of the womb.
Yeah.
Was
And that's
really
all
helping
Dan
you.
Siegel. That had nothing to do with the Enneagram people,
Oh, okay.
I don't believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was really helping you kind of just settle into and accept some self-acceptance. And I was thinking that, astrology kind of does that as well. I have always felt a little off about astrology only because I'm a cusp. Are you a cusp?
I am. I'm like right on. I'm such a cusp that I'm Virgo Rising.
Okay, that's interesting because I'm Cancer Leo rising, but in some astrological calendars, because I'm July 22nd, in some astrological calendars, I'm a Leo. So I've always felt a little strange about being able to kind of pick and choose, or feeling like I can pick and choose, oh, what's Cancer horoscope? What's Leo horoscope? I'll just pick whichever one I like better. So it has never really served that same purpose that Enneagram does, of being like, well, these are some of my natural qualities, and this might explain or help in a way of acceptance around like who I am or what my personality is like, right? Mm-hmm. Because I've always felt like, well, sometimes I'm a Cancer, sometimes a Leo. I get to do either one or whatever. This story was on Vice yesterday and it caught my attention. So I downloaded, Vice has an astrology app.
I used to read the Vice Daily Horoscopes, and I'll tell you why I stopped. Well, two reasons, which I'll get into the other one later when we talk about like my experience with astrology. But the one reason I stopped was because Vice hires really good writers, and they're very well written, but they are not good horoscopes. They are shitty. They're very well written, shitty fucking horoscopes.
So that's good to know.
Yeah, they hire excellent. I imagine these Ivy League kids coming out of graduation that are like, I'm an excellent writer, and Vice is like, we'd love to hire you. And they write
doing horoscopes.
They write these beautifully written horoscopes, and it's like, I don't know what the fuck that just said, but I'm sure if they turned it in, they'd get an A.
Yeah.
So
it's not very practical. So it's like very eloquent, if not not practical.
Right.
Well, one of the things that caught my eye about this Bryce article is that, so as far as astrology is concerned, everyone knows about like Mercury being in retrograde and like,
and then it
watch
fucks you
out,
up.
and then everyone's fucked up. And everyone knows about their sun sign, which is what you and I were talking about, your main sign when you're like, oh, where do I go on the astrological calendar?
Right. Like my birthday tells me what my sun sign is.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But Vice was saying that your rising sign is the one that matters. Your rising sign is what determines the house that you're in. And your rising sign is really related to the way that you express yourself. It's like a filter for how you view your life. And that was really what resonated for me about the Enneagram stuff that we talked about last week. Mm-hmm. And your rising sign is determined by your birth time, your birth date, and your place of birth. So it's like a little more specific than just your kind of sun sign is. So I downloaded the Vice app because I was like, because on the app you can put in all those pieces and it will give you your rising sign. Now, I don't know my exact time of birth. Did you?
I do.
Oh, so yours is very accurate then, your rising sign that it gave you. Mine was, it says, is like kind of accurate. So my sun sign is Cancer according to Vice, and my rising sign is Leo. So I'm a Leo rising, which I thought was like kind of cool because Leo rising is, let me just pull it up quick. Of course, it has something nice to say about me. Yay.
I think that's why we like horoscopes.
Yes.
I think that when we button it all down, I think that's why we like horoscopes.
I think you're right too.
That's okay.
Leo rising gals are bright and shiny, dramatic, and do everything up big. Leo as a rising sign could be called fortunate. When you're at your best, you're confident, generous, and attractive to others because of your warmth. With Leo rising, you've got the radiance of the sun at your front door. You are friendly and upbeat and have the ability to light up a room with your smile. You carry yourself with confidence and are naturally encouraging to others. Your responses are spontaneous with enthusiasm that flares up suddenly. Your joy for living is contagious. This wins you many friends. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds awesome. I love being a Leo rising. I'll take that. And the other thing I did, I screenshotted my Cancer sun sign and my Leo rising and sent it to Mark. So for July 11th, if you're watching the show, you can see what my Cancer sun and Leo rising horoscopes say, which you're right, are very like eloquent and like effusive, but not particularly useful. My Cancer sun sign says that my sun connects me with Neptune, bringing me inspiration and intriguing opportunities. And that action planet Mars squares off with the eclectic Uranus, bringing shakeups to your social life and finances.
You're
eclectic anus. Yeah. The other thing, while Sandy's looking up hers, is that we do have a true, legit astrologer in the house. Sandy and I discovered right before we did the show today that Mark Major, our sound audio guy, what do we call you? Our audio engineer. That's like the technical term. Mark Major wrote an ebook available on Amazon called Gospel and Scriptures from the Church of Astrology. And basically what he did was for 4 years, he ran a Twitter account where he put out the most general horoscope to anyone. It was just like a horoscope for everyone. It wasn't based on your sign or anything. And then he compiled it all and put it in an ebook.
It's brilliant. I can't wait to read it. You can get it on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, 4 years of
It's
daily
only
horoscopes.
99 cents.
99 cents. We're going to put the link to it on our website.
Yeah, it's going to be much easier to just to buy the ebook and read them than to go to the Twitter and read everything backwards, which is exactly what I am going to do this weekend because one, I'm just interested. And two, I feel like I'm going to know Mark a little bit better after I read 4 years worth of horoscopes that he has written.
That he wrote to see.
This is fantastic.
Maybe he predicted something. Maybe you're like a real-time, what's that guy that they're always talking about? The French guy. Nostradamus. Maybe you're like a real-life Portlandian.
Is he French?
I think so. Maybe before France was formed.
Yeah.
Like old school French.
I've never thought of it. This is great. I love the French people.
Maybe he was a French sympathizer. Maybe he started the French Revolution. I don't know. Maybe he's there today. I just picture him being French. Maybe he was English. What have you got about your rising sign, Sandy?
I'm pulling something up. I'm struggling with the interwebs.
Sandy is a Virgo with a Virgo rising, so you're just all Virgo all the way, right? Is that what that means?
I don't know enough about it to know. I don't know why this app I'm having trouble finding my information about myself, even though I dialed it all in.
Oh, I'm gonna just pull it up. Virgo rising sign. Let's see.
Quick question for you, Heidi.
Yeah. Mark has a question.
On your Leo rising,
Yeah.
here, at the bottom it says carrying a carnelian crystal can help
Yes.
dispel rational fear.
Okay.
Are they suggesting we walk around rocks now?
Yes, they
Yes.
are. They're suggesting.
Oh, totally.
So Vice is absolutely in bed with the crystal industry, and everyone, and they also have some hooker light influencers working on the crystal game too. So everyone's trying to get.
Do you know how expensive crystals are right now?
So expensive.
I wore a bunch of crystals on my hair when I got married.
I love
and I think
it.
it's good vibes for
It
our
is.
marriage.
It's good vibes. I have looked up Virgo rising. Virgo rising is a sign of thoughtful action, being an earth sign ruled by the thinking planet.
I do think a lot.
The Virgo rising person makes their way carefully and is meticulously spotless. A Virgo rising has personality that is purposeful and trustworthy. I feel like that's pretty spot on for you. You are thoughtful. You are a thinker.
Is that like seriously all it says though?
No, there's more. I'm coming.
okay,
I had to click the link.
Okay, because I was going to be like critical of horoscopes based on that.
Let's see. Before the 20th century, if a person walked up to you in a saloon and was forward enough to ask you what your sign was, believe it or not, it would not be your sun sign. Most people would state their rising sign. Sorry. Those with Virgo rising are hygiene heroes. Title of this episode. Hygiene heroes. Usually very trustworthy and sometimes with an annoying type A tendency. Virgo rising is the sign of thoughtful action, being the earth sign ruled by the thinking planet Mercury. A Virgo rising has a personality that's purposeful and trustful. People with Virgo ascendants are sensitive to any discomfort or other signals their body gives them. You tend to be matter of fact and sometimes can come off as cold to new people. You like to stay productive and you make the most of your day. You are always looking for ways to improve yourself, especially your health. You like to focus on fixing things, which can sometimes make you seem negative. You may struggle with insecurity and self-criticism and do not fall into the trap of constantly flogging yourself for this or that.
Okay. I guess I can relate to some of that, but this is what I experienced with horoscopes.
Yes. Let's break it down.
They seem to be rather general.
They definitely are.
So, like, I feel like I can read anybody's horoscope and relate to anyone's horoscope.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
Yeah.
One of the things that was nice about the Enneagram is that there were very clearly differentiated categories. It's almost like the person who developed the Enneagram strategy was like, okay, we're doing discrete categories. You're going to fit in one mostly and then like have a little bit of others. But like astrologers didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Or horoscope people don't consider that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I have a feeling that there are like astrologers who are like very, very true to their art and their craft and like would be screaming in their seats listening to us right now because they know how it's done.
That's
because
good point.
Of the popularization and that there is just horoscopes
Sandy,
everywhere.
Goddamn genius.
Like I think that you do get like just all this like garbage out,
kind of watered down,
like for the purpose of the writing, for the purpose of getting the clicks,
right?
You know, and all that
like,
stuff.
I think about like the town I grew up in Iowa was the Quad Cities, right? It's like a small town, and every day the Quad City Times in the newspaper had like a horoscope. So it's like you have to think about like the quantity of horoscopes that have to get churned out for like, and I'm sure it was like from the AP or whatever, but like because of the quantity, the quality might be very low. So I think what I'm hearing you say is like if you were to find like a high quality astrologer and get like your actual chart done with your sun sign and your rising sign, you would probably get something that was more direct and resonant with exactly who you were.
I think so.
I agree. I'm 100% on board with that. I can't believe I didn't think about that. God, I learn something new every week.
Cynicism helps. So I just want to talk really briefly about like now that I'm a 42-year-old woman and my experience with astrology in my life, like because I came up with a mom who was into astrology, like not like super into it, but reading horoscopes. Like every time we got like a magazine, it'd immediately flip to the back, read the horoscope, and she'll still like text me horoscopes and like you know like when stuff relates to what's going on in my life. Yeah. And so it's always been a part of my life. Psychics have kind of always been a part of my life, but not a big part of my life, you know? And so I've always been into it.
Well, we have a psychic that we love.
Yeah. So like what I found is in times of uncertainty, I turn to horoscopes more, especially times of uncertainty in romance. I have only ever read daily horoscopes when I've been single and looking.
Wow.
And
I like that.
on the regular and checking the compatibility and could this one be the one? And I want to know what your sign is. And it was always in times of uncertainty and always in times of fear, but it always seemed like fun to me.
Yeah.
Like it was never like this desperate,
serious
like
or,
desperate reading.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh my God, I'm not going to find him
Horoscope
today.
says I'll be single forever.
Yeah. It was always fun.
Yeah.
Because they are selling something, right? They're selling magazines, they're selling clicks, they're selling something. They do keep it nice and they flatter you.
Yeah.
Like that's what they do.
Hell yeah.
I've noticed as I've gotten older and mature and more like seated in my life, I don't even look at horoscopes anymore. Like they don't even like cross my path anymore. And so it's really interesting and I don't get the same like satisfaction from reading them that I used to.
Yeah.
And that's just my experience with horoscopes.
The story I'm telling
Same thing
myself.
with psychics though too.
Yeah.
Like I haven't had the urge or desire to go see a
Jody.
psychic in a long time. Yeah. Because I just don't feel uncertainty around very many things in my life right now. Let me knock on wood so nothing comes out from the stars and crashes around me. Yeah. Well,
no, not that uncertainty.
I think I'm
equals
secure.
grown, but
I think I'm secure.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, I just like, it was kind of fun, little topic to explore today. And that little app on Vice is really easy to use when you have all the bars and stuff. Although it was easy to sign up for, but then I tried to use it today too to figure out like the rising. And I actually ended up just Googling my own too because I couldn't find the rising. I found the rising thing last night, but I couldn't find it this morning. So anyway, I don't know. That's like just a cute little convo to wrap up the day. Anything else to add to it?
Nope.
All right, that's us. I mean, what a great show.
I love it.
I love it. I had so much fun today. We are sending you lots of love, light, and gold from Portland, Oregon. Don't forget to
stay vigilant.
Yeah.
miracles of science and engineering it took to recover this gold.